Hello, 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 and welcome to 20 Years with the Narcissist. I'm your host, Shakira, and I would like to start with words of affirmations. You are whole, you are complete, you are enough. You are strong, you are brave, you are resilient. You are indeed guided, you are protected, and you are safe. And this here is a safe space. This week's episode is titled The Narcissist Playbook. Manipulation is the subtitle, if you will. Part one. I'm going to have to break this down into many parts because this manipulation thing is a huge deal. I think that manipulation is like the heartbeat of a narcissist, if you will. It is what everything extends from. Manipulation is one of their key traits. With that being said, have you ever felt like you were dating the same person in a different body? So for me personally, I encountered 3 narcissists, unfortunately. But at the same time, I'm going to appreciate the experience that I've gained from these relationships and how it's helped shape me into the beautiful person that I am. It's allowed me to do enough research to get well versed on what narcissism actually is. So, of course, that includes what manipulation is and what it looks like, right? My 3 narcs that I dealt with were 3 different walks of life. The first one was a more hands-on. He liked to do contracting. He, build things, tear things down. He was more quiet, laid back, chill, reserved. Took a lot to ruffle his feathers. His love language was, buying me pocketbooks, and I really believe that was just to match his fly because he was a very flashy guy. He liked his Louis Vuitton belts, Gucci belts, matching backpack, and sneakers and everything like that. So because that wasn't something that I, was into buying for myself, he decided to buy it for me. The second narc, also with the first narc, like he wasn't affectionate. So I would have to beg for a hug and a kiss. If I asked for a massage, which I always felt like I needed because I just work so hard and I run myself in the ground that my body just be aching. So it's like, can you please rub me down? And if he would even give me one, it would be, with his fingertips, like he was barely touching me, and 3 minutes, 5 if I was lucky. Um, and so the only time I really felt all the way loved by him was when we was having sex, and I think that's why I became a nympho, as he called me, because all I wanted to do was have sex because that's what felt good. That's what made, the serotonin and the dopamine be released in large doses, and that's also the thing that kept me with him and helped made me hold on to him because I didn't think, anyone else was going to be able to satisfy me in that same manner. We had plenty of breaks where, we would see other people and they definitely did not hit the mark the way that he did. So it just made it that much easier for me to fall back into his, web, if you will. The second art, he was very affectionate. He would look at me like I was the most beautiful thing on the planet. He would hug. He would literally like cradle my face as he kissed me and loved up on me. You know, a little more personal, like the first narc, you know, like oral sex, it was like a chore to him. Like, oh, why do I always have to do this? Like, why? Like, pretty much, why can't I just stick it in and keep it moving? Whereas the second narc, I would have to kick him off me because he would go in for a long time. So it was just a difference of, and I think that's why it was so easy for me to fall for the second narc and not even realize too that he was even a narcissist because he was such the opposite of the first one. He was more catering and caring to my needs and my wants. So, and I just felt like that was like a breath of fresh air. Like, oh wow, something I never got. Massages. Oh, he it wasn't that often, but when he did, it was pretty thorough. It was like, okay, you want one? All right, come on. and he would hook me up. He would buy me gifts as well. You know, always kept me fed. Always put some type of money in my pocket. So you know, and he was in the finances. You know, he's not hands on. He's not. He will hire somebody to clean, to shovel his snow, to clean his car. He's not doing none of that himself. You know, he was not that guy. But he would kiss me in public, unlike the first one who wouldn't dare. My last narc, you know, was in jail. You know, he was one that literally was in jail for multiple years, and you know, I've never allowed myself to fall for somebody of that nature. I've came across a few and dated them, or it was so short lived. You know, they were so what is the word, or how do you describe it when you go to jail for such a long time that you kind of take on that mindset? And it was such an opposite of the type of mindset that I had, that it was a clash there. I just couldn't get jiggy with it. I couldn't, like, some of the words that they would say, I couldn't understand. Like, I didn't relate. I couldn't relate to them. So as enamored by me as they were, I just didn't feel the same way about them. And then when I would question anything about them, because that's what happens when you get locked up, you get interrogated, especially before you go. All my questions just seemed like interrogations. Like, what are you asking me all these questions? And it was like, if I can't even ask you questions to get to know you more and better, then how are we going to have a relationship? Like, it just wasn't working out. So this last one, was really different for me. And, yeah, I'll tell y'all more about the last narc later in the seasons. I am actually going to, create this as season 1. We're on episode 9 right now. I think I'm going to do about 12 episodes in each season. So I'll talk more about the third narc in the later seasons, but just to show the difference of the type of people that they were, So the last narc is in cosmetology school. I'm going to tell you that much. So he's doing hair, whereas the other two, that wasn't their realm at all, So it was just 3 different type of people, different backgrounds. The one thing that I can say they all had in common was that they had poor relationships with their mothers. And I don't know if I put that on the red flag episode that I created a few episodes back, but it should be up there if it is not. That is 100% a telltale sign that you might be dating a narcissist. If the one person who carried them and birthed them, and the one woman that was supposed to love them more than anybody else on this planet doesn't, or does not give them the love and care and security that they felt like they needed as a child growing up, to the point that they now hate or strongly dislike, or at the very least have a not so great relationship with them, run. Or at the very least, have your antlers raised, your antennas all the way up, and just gauge whether or not they're going to be able to treat you the way that you should be treated, being as though the one, and this is more so for the women, if the person that you're dating has a poor relationship with them, I mean, they cuss them out, disrespect them in the worst way, or even in a mild way. You should just never disrespect your mother. Like, she contributed to giving you life. Even if she was the worst person on the planet, the Bible says, honor thy mother 3 times. The Quran says, honor thy mother, before it says, honor thy father. So even if they didn't treat you the best, for, I would say, a normal, human being, it's like, yes, my mom or my parent, my mom was not the best, but I'm going to love her anyway. I'm going to love her and I'm going to have love for her and I'm going to respect her anyway. Especially if she provided some kind of roof over your head. She made sure you ate. She made sure you got to get, some type of doctor's appointments and your health was some kind of up to par. She may not have been all the way on top of it. She may not have been the best. She may have abused you, helped roll on you with her other boyfriends. This is the stories that I got from my narcs. Like, they were literally beat up by their, moms with the new boyfriends that they would get that weren't their fathers. Not all of them, but, a couple of them. And it's like, I get it. I get your dislike and your discord, between you and her. But if you can say I don't love my mom or call her a effing bitch with pride, with your chest out, and I'm supposed to think that you're going to treat me better, I'm sadly mistaken. Like 9 times out of 10, that's not what's going to happen. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just like, beware, be on alert, on high alert on how their relationships are with their mothers if you're dating a man or even a woman, because yes, there are same-sex relationships where women are dating women and that woman treats you like crap, and then you find out her relationship with her mom is horrible and you're like, oh snap, this makes a lot of sense. It's just something to think about, because you never want to fall victim to somebody who's going to mistreat you because the one woman in their life mistreated them. It just ends up being like a domino effect. But the different, on a spiritual level, with the different types of manipulators, and even though they're from different backgrounds, different cultures, different religions, they're just different, but yet they treat you very similar or the same way, another did in a different relationship. If you think about it on a spiritual level, it's almost like you're dating the devil's foot soldiers, aka demons, right? The podcast that I was a guest on, Love, Lust, and Lies, Dr. Dana, she is quick to call narcissist demons. Like, she will shout it from the rooftops. These demons, I call them beings. I feel like I can't call them human because, they go around literally like just hurting and tearing people down, as Mir, the God, Mir, the chosen one, would say. He's a self-aware narcissist. He says, break you down like a Christmas tree. Like, that's literally their goal. And they go for the strong-willed, strong-minded, career-driven, confident, respectful, loving, caring, kind beings. They go for us humans. That's the types that they go for, and for you to intentionally go for that type of person just to manipulate, gaslight, disrespect, mistreat, and break down like a Christmas tree, you're a demon. You're a demon. You're not human, sweetheart. I'm sorry to tell you, but you work for the opposing side. You're not of God. You are of the devil. You are evil, and that's just that. And you don't like it, go get therapy, heal from your unhealed trauma, and become a better version of yourself. Because until then, you're a demon, and that's just what it is. So while manipulation while it's happening, seeing manipulation while it's happening, that is what I want to get across on my podcast. I want you to see manipulation in every form that it comes in. And seeing it while it's happening is best described as evolution of awakening. You woke up. You ain't sleep at the wheel no more. You done woke up like, hold up. And you actually seeing people and things for what they actually are instead of what you want them to be. So unfortunately, when dealing with a narcissist and they hit you with that love bomb phase, by the time they start to devalue and degrade you and then manipulate you and make you think that you're tripping when you call them out on the devaluing and degrading part phase of their, narcissism, if you will, you need to have discernment, and you need to be aware enough to be able to see it in real time. Like, I know I'm not tripping. I know that girl just called your phone at 3 a.m. and said, when you coming to get some more of this coochie. No, you tripping. Ain't nobody say that, because they done deleted the message and it's not there no more. And now they gonna tell you, you ain't see nothing. Gaslight me. Gaslight me, why don't you? No, 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 baby. I saw it for sure. And just because you deleted it, you can't make me unsee it. So, but it's a process. It's a process to learn, practice, and get to know all the ways a person can manipulate you. So, I read a book called The Narcissist Playbook by Dana Morningstar, and she broke it down into phases. The phases, you get clarity for what manipulation is. The more in depth your awareness becomes. So, phase 1 is noticing it in hindsight, noticing the fact that you have been manipulated after the fact. Okay, so you have exited the relationship. For me, I got divorced, and this part of me that just was like, okay, you just 20 years, 5 kids, and he just threw it away like it was nothing. Why would he do that? Why was that so easy for him to do? And what's wrong with him? Something is wrong with this man, and I need to know what. So I can't even remember what I typed in the search bar that pulled up narcissism. I had no idea what it was. I had only heard of it on Jada Pinkett's Red Table Talk on Facebook. I believe it was Dr. Romney, who was actually the psychotherapist, psychologist, therapist that was on that episode talking about narcissism, and how if a healthy person is here and a narcissist is here, even if they come and get help from her, she can only get them up to here, but they would never be at a healthy empathetic level, like, the rest of us, if you will, because there's been too much damage done. If you go back in my previous episodes, I have 2 parts of how a narcissist are made, and being abused or discarded, because giving up for adoption and feeling like you were discarded, having parents that were narcissists and just got their source of supply out of you. If you didn't cater to those needs, then they didn't care about you at all. Those different things, like, they literally damage you on psychological levels, and it's really hard to come back from that, especially if you end up not even getting this therapy until way later in life, because you weren't even aware, like, oh snap, that's what I am, that's what I am, that's why I act like that, that's why I mistreat people like that, because of how I was raised, how I was treated. Oh wow, now I know. And some of them know and be like, okay, check, duly noted, I'm still gonna be me, it is what it is, take it or leave it. And others are actively trying to be better versions of themselves. So within that phase, you may seek therapy yourself due to anxiety, anger, or depression, not knowing it was due to manipulation. So then you're now angry at the narc, at the manipulator, like, oh my goodness, how dare you? And then you kind of turn it inwards and say, well, dang, how did you not know? You kind of blame yourself, and it's like, hey, give yourself grace, and be thankful, like, okay, well, at least now I know, you know what I'm saying? So a way of realizing in hindsight, is an example was, somebody that they were in a relationship with for years, and they come out the woodworks, because after I got divorced, it was a woman that he was dating for years who claimed that he asked to marry her, but she was like, no, and he was with her. She was like, girl, you might as well call us co-wives, because I've been dating him. I've been with him. He mine too. Like, wait, what? If I rewind back to another one who, he actually broke up with me and was dating this she was very young, very immature. And she would do, like, because if you think about it, whomever he was with, they all got the same treatment, and or even worse me being the wife and his main source of supply, he may have treated me better than most, better than the other women that he was dealing with. Because even in his own mind, you just a side chick. Like, I ain't got to cater to you. I ain't got to do XYZ for you. You know, it's bad enough I got to do it for her, and I barely want to do it for her. You think I'm gonna do all that for you? You got me messed up. It's not happening, right? So if that's already the mindset coming in, and I'm dating you or whatever the case, then I can kind of treat you however I want. And my narc being the shut down type, like you snapping out and you like, where was you at? Why you wasn't answering my calls? Da 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 da. I can see this young girl talking to him like this, and he just not caring. It's just falling on deaf ears. And then once she get all riled up, he would want to roll out. All right, I see you all riled up and everything like that, so I'm gonna go ahead and head out. So she would do immature things like spray cologne all over his steering wheel while they was in the car. He would get out and go to the store and come back in the car. He choking on the daggone cologne that he had sitting in his middle console that she done took out and sprayed all over the place because she didn't like what he said or something that he did maybe. And or another, like when if they're in the house together and he's trying to walk away or leave because she done got all riled up, she grabbed him by the hoodie and now he choking. You know, now he's literally choking, you know, because she's choking him with the hood. You know, so it's just like, yes, she's immature, but you provoke that reaction out of her. And you find yourself very angry and very upset with this person. So once, you know, that started to happen more and more, he realized, okay, you're too much to handle. I'm going to go ahead and head out. And then he swung his butt right on back around to me. So now, you know, and it was so crazy because he started off with, hey, can I put my clothes and stuff? Because he had moved in with her to some degree. And a lot of his belongings were in her crib. And he asked me if he could use my enclosed porch as a, what is it called? A storage spot. Pretty much somewhere to store his belongings. So, you know, it was like, all right, I'll pay you $50 a month, whatever the case. And of course I said yes. I don't know why I said yes, but I said yes. So I allowed that, and that was the foot in the door. That was the foot back in the door, right? So once I started to let him back in, now he's working his way all the way back in. Next thing you know, we sleeping with each other. Now he's spending the night. Now he's living there. Now the stuff goes from the porch to all the way in the house, and we're together. But before it even got to that, I had a vehicle. I had a Ford Expedition, and he was driving a car. And I always kept a spare key to all of my vehicles because I'm one to either lose it or lock it inside the vehicle somehow. And now I need you to come get me out. So you got the spare key and you can come open the door for me. And so I kept the spare for that. So he had my spare key in his glove compartment, and she, and I, you know, I was driving the Expedition. So, first, was it my car? So when he broke up with the girl, she ended up creating an Instagram page, and on that page, she baited me to the page. And I'm trying to figure out who the heck this is. Like, why are you, you know, friend requesting me or whatever the case. So I head on over to the page like a fool. I'm not gonna call myself a fool. I got baited, and I took the bait, if you will. And when I got over there, I'm now seeing pictures of him and her. So since they had broken up and he's back in my house, he's seen her at the bus stop and took her to the bus, if you will. And she was in the passenger seat, and she kindly took a picture of them two. And her whole face is in the picture, but only partial of his face is in the picture. But I know what my husband looked like, so I know that it's him. And underneath the caption, she got 2 rings, like as if they're married, and said something about them being married, or my husband this, or it was a bait. It was bait, you know. And I jumped right on the daggone post and commented and was like, that's funny, because I could have swore I was married to him. That's my husband, right? And baby, when I tell you that's all she wanted, I know she was like, you know, jumping up and down on the inside like, yep, got her. Because, baby, she went in on me. When I tell you, all her folks, her sisters, cousins, they all came out the woodwork, started calling my kids monkeys. You better get your monkeys, for we come around there with the gun symbol. Like, hold up, what? And this is before I knew who she was or that it was her or anything. It was just a random, and I was like, why are you bothering me? Like, get out of here. So I was mad at myself for taking the bait. And I called myself John, I jumped off there, blocked the whole page or whatever the case, and left it where she was at. So then she created a fake page with this guy on it as, the face, and sent me inboxes. Like, somehow the girl broke into my Google account. I just don't even know how these type of people can do the things that they do, because my brain just don't work like that. But the girl ended up breaking into my, like, she had, because you know how, like, say you screenshot your birth certificate, your social security card, so that you can go and email them to different entities for whatever reason. That's what I had. I had that type of stuff in my phone. And then on the other end of the spectrum, I had news of myself. So, because yes, I was a little freak, and I would send my husband, different parts of my body throughout the day to entice him. So when he come home, he would want me. She sent me back those pictures. She was inboxing me those pictures straight out of my camera roll, straight out my phone. And I was like, how, what the, and then told me ain't nobody safe in that house. Straight threatened the mess out of me. Like, wait, what? Sis, did you lose your whole mind? Like, what did this man do? And because they were together like 3 months, maybe 6 months. It wasn't even a whole year. And you this head over heels, or you're this mad that he has decided to no longer deal with you and come back home to his family where he belongs? Are you kidding me? No, she was dead serious. She was dead serious. So, I would take everything back to him and be like, yo, like, what's up with this? You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to get her, because if I engage with this, because me being the Gemini that I am, and the one logical reasoning side of me that's like, you know what? I'm not about to deal with this. They empty threats. I'm not paying her no mind. She's not about to come over here and do nothing. I'm going to give it to God. God going to handle her just like he handled all of my other problems. She's not the first one, not the first chick he was dealing with that done threatened me and said he was going to do all of this and that to me. So I'm not about to allow her nonsense to get to me. But the other side, the savage that will go to jail for her babies, you threatening my kids, calling them monkeys with the gun sign, talking about ain't nobody safe. I will burn your house down with everybody in it. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if I engage in this, somebody's going to lose life. So I need you to go ahead and get shorty before I end up in jail. You know what I'm saying? But he was a punk ass bitch, so he ain't do nothing. Yup, I'm going to say it just like that. He ain't do nothing. He kept telling me, oh, let God deal with it. Let God deal with it. And like I said, the reason inside of me agreed with that. So I'm like, okay, let's do that. Let's see how that works out. Because if this escalates any further, I'm going to lose my shit. So, fast forward, she ended up having a copy of his key to his vehicle. Or at least I thought, because she did end up breaking, or in fact, she broke the little window in the back of, if you think about the passenger side window and then the back seat window, and then it was like a little tiny window right behind the back seat window. She broke that out. And I think that only occurred just to make it seem like it was a break-in and not her actually having the key, because he had a spare key to his vehicle in a safe box that he left at her crib. It had his birth certificate and all kind of stuff in it as well. And she ended up using the key really to steal his car from in front of my door, in front of my house, because he brought her to my house. This is where he play himself and always allow these chicks to come to where I lay and where I sleep. Like, I'm your wife. I have your kids here. Why would you ever allow anybody to come to where we stay? It should be like the forbidden zone. But he wasn't smart enough, clearly, to make sure that didn't transpire. So that's not what happened. Anywho, he wasn't smart enough to do that. So that's not what happened. So, unfortunately, she was able to come to my house and steal his car from in front of the door. Now remember, my spare key was in his glove compartment. So I didn't know that. He didn't tell me that, alert me to that. And the crazy part was my sister was at my house the night that she stole his car. So he tried to blame my sister. Now, my sister, she had got the reputation of being a little thief, and she couldn't stand his guts. So he just knew that it had to be her. So I remember shutting that down, like, no, it wasn't my sister. You're not about to blame my sister. That's not true at all. So he went back to the officer and was like, okay, officer, I don't think it was her. It may not have been her. You know what I mean? He tried to take it back or whatever. I played myself telling my mom. My mom told my sister. My sister ended up snapping on me like, you stupid big. Why would you think that I would, matter of fact, just I ain't do it. Oh, well, that's what he get, blah, blah, blah. She was gloating and talking in a way that didn't sound like she wasn't guilty. Like, like, hold up. Did you? It made me raise an eyebrow because of how she was talking. Because she can't stand him so much, she was actually very happy that his car had gotten stolen. So, and she never really denied, like, I didn't take it. Like, why would I take it? Or we used to, I have that. She never really talked in that direction. So it was like, uh-oh. I hope she didn't, but at the same time, oh well. You know what I mean? So, fast forward, say his car got stole on a Monday. By Friday, my vehicle was going down. Nope. My sister ended up meeting me over here at my grandmom's house, and she called herself stepping to me about the whole situation. Like, why would you let him say that I took his car? I said, sis, I did not. I actually was the one that told him that that wasn't true and to take it back. So I don't know what mommy told you, but that was a whole entire lie. And now she's mad at me. So now she's trying to play Froggy and Leap. So I jumped up like, wait, what? What you trying to do? But my grandma was right there, and she jumps up and gets in the middle of it, and she's like, no. Y'all not going to fight. And we didn't like seeing her getting all riled up like that. Like, you're an older woman, I think she was probably in her early 70s or something. Calm down, sit down. We backed right off, right? She ended up leaving out and was like, you lucky, because that shorty had stole his car, he was driving my Expedition and he dropped me off at my grandma's house. So my vehicle was not outside, but since she couldn't get to me, she wanted to go, I guess, bash my windows out of my car. My sister's a savage, by the way. Like, she off the chain. And she didn't specify what she was trying to do to my car. She just threatened, you're lucky your car ain't outside. You lucky your vehicle ain't outside. And I'm like, wait, what? What does that mean? You know what I'm saying? So that same night, I wake up in the morning and my vehicle is gone. Why would I not possibly think that it was her? I didn't 100% know. I didn't 100% say yes, it was her. But come on now, wouldn't the thought have at least crossed your mind? So it was like, oh snap. And now if you took mine, then you probably took his too. So now I'm just trying to get down to the bottom of it, because what the hell? Come to find out, it was shorty. So when she had made that fake page and said nobody was safe, she ended up jumping back on there and was like, oh, did he tell you I was the one that took your cars? Now, no, the only reason why she jumped back on there is we seen a little heifer at the grocery store. I'm in deli and she's next door in seafood or something, right? Or maybe vice versa. And while they were dating for the 6 months or whatever, he would take my kids to her house. So she knew my children by name. So when she saw them, I got the baby in the in the front of the cart, and the rest of them are just standing around it. So I look over and notice her, and I was like, I know that ain't shorty, right? So I guess my kids spotted her, or she looked over and spotted us and decided to speak to all of my kids. Hey, Taraji. Hey, Taraji. Hey. That grinded my gears. Like, my whole body got hot. And I was like, and then she thought she was going to speak to my husband. Hey, Uchi. The way I turned around in front of him and told him, if you say anything to that bitch, I'm going to fuck you up in here. Swear to God, y'all. Swear to God. Said it real quiet, real silent, and right in his face. He never said a word to her. And I kindly turned back around. And right before I turned around, the reason why she spoke to him is because my phone rang. My phone rang. It was my daddy calling. And I went to answer the phone. And she said, hey, Uchi. I never even got to say hello before I turned around and was like, you better not. You better not. Right? So she was livid. She was hot. She was even more hot than I was about you speaking to my kids. Like, don't say nothing to my kids. Ain't they monkeys? Ain't they little monkeys with the gun symbol? Didn't you say, because I didn't know the fake page where her saying ain't nobody safe in the house. I did not know it was her until she said, until we saw her at the market. And a day or two later, or maybe later that day, whenever it was, she jumped on there and said, did he tell you that I stole y'all cars? I said, oh my God, this is her. Oh my goodness, her name just popped back up in my head because I couldn't think of her name to save my life, but it just popped in my head. And I'm like, wait, so he knew that it was her and you never told me? Are you serious? So it's like, when you go through decades of manipulation like that, and then come out of it and realize that you were being toyed with the entire time, and you holding on to this relationship because you want your family so bad, and you're praying that, he changes or he treats you the way that you deserve to be treated, and everything's going to work out, and you're going to have this fairy tale ending of, we lived happily ever after, and life was just great and wonderful and excellent and amazing. And you find out that was all a bunch of bullshit, and it was never going to be that, and he'd been playing with you like a yo-yo, like a toy for 20 years, you get angry. You get angry. I definitely saw me a couple therapists. Okay, it was a couple times I took him to therapy because I kept saying something is wrong with this man. It's something wrong with you. And I would take him to the therapy, and they would be like, well, can we just talk to you by yourself? Can we just have like a little one-on-one session? Because they was trying to get through to me and help me see, like, sis, he don't care nothing about you. Like, I don't even think this man loves you. But you seem to be head over heels. And no, I got my daughter in the car seat. She on the floor right next to us in the car seat one of the times. So it's like, I just had a baby. Y'all want me to leave this man and say F this man and be done with the relationship, and we got a whole newborn. So now we got two, and that was at that time. And I know we did it at least 2 more times after that. I just couldn't do it. I wasn't strong enough, if you will. I just wasn't. So, even when you call yourself knowing about narcissism and manipulation, you don't really know a thing. This is when you think you know, you don't really know nothing. Because after my divorce, I called myself, you couldn't tell me in 2020, 2021, like, yeah, I know about narcissists, I know about narcissism. I actually consider myself some kind of well-versed. What? Because you Googled some things and you read a few things, you well-versed? No, baby. No, it takes way more than that to become well-versed in a thing that is this in-depth. You hear me? Because I still ended up with 2 other narcissists after that, like head over heels in love. You know what I mean? The last one, not so much, because I was more aware. So, with my antlers being raised and my antennas picking up his bullshit, it was like, oh, okay. But within that one, in that relationship, I felt like I was in control. At least I thought I was. Okay, I'm running this. He ain't about to. I see you. So I'm going to run this relationship how I want to. I'm going to use you how I want, and I'm going to do, you know what I mean? I'm going to do what I want with you, how I'm going to move how I want to move, and you can take it or leave it. Because I know in this relationship, I'm the prize. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have to do what you say, and I don't have to move how you want me to move, and I don't have to act how you want me to act. Sure don't. So you can take me or leave me. And of course, just like the other two, he left me. Well, the second one I left several times over. He's probably still waiting for me to come back, quite honestly, but it's just not going to happen because you're not the one. And at this beautiful stage of my life, I don't want you if you're not the one. If you're not heaven sent, if God ain't sent you to cater to me, to love up on me, to treat me like the queen that I am, get away from me. Go over there. She knows her worth. I know what I bring to the table. Not only are my traits as far as how I value myself, love and care and respect myself is at a very high level at this point in time. I'm loving, caring, and kind to others. I'm a giver. I'm a caterer. I stroke your ego. I uplift you. You know what I'm saying? I pour into you. That's what I give. And then on a surface materialistic level, I make $40 an hour. I live in a $250,000 house. I drive, a nice car, a 7-seater. Like if you can't meet me where I am, and love up on me and cater to me and take me out and wine and dine me and give gifts that's actually from your heart that you not gonna take back, like the first one did, then I don't want you. You can't come over here. You can't be in this space. The handful of men that I've exchanged numbers with and had encounters with, they don't make it past a week or two. I see right through you. Oh, okay, that's how you are. Yeah, not consistent. Check out in the middle of the conversation. You say you gonna do something and don't do it. Then hit me with some type of lame ass excuse, and you expect me to be like, oh, okay, no problem, that's cool. No. So even at this wonderful stage that I am in my life, I'm sitting here like, I ain't never going through this again. I will never allow myself to be hit in the head with the okie doke by no narc or no manipulator ever again. But I can't tell you how many times I said I would never do something and end up right back in the same predicament. So what I'm going to be doing and what I would like to pass on to you all is practicing my self-awareness. And you practice by continuing to learn about manipulation in all the forms that they come in. So that was phase 1, noticing after the fact, noticing that you were dealing with a manipulator in hindsight. Oh snap, that's what he was. He was a narc the whole time. Oh snap, he was a manipulator the whole time. You've been manipulated for years, for months, for decades, however long you end up in these relationships with these people. It hits you like a ton of bricks. Oh my goodness. And it cuts like a knife because you genuinely loved and cared for these people. It was genuine and sincere love there. And for some of us, we end up going to the dark side. We end up being like, you know what? I'm not going to be this nice, sweet, awesome, amazing person anymore because every time that I am, I get walked all over like a doormat. I get did dirty. So I'm going to play dirty like y'all play dirty. You want to play? Let's play. Mir, the chosen one, he wrote a couple books, and one of them is called The Dark Empath. Because we're empaths. We feel what you feel. We go through as we can put ourselves in other people's shoes. We can pick up your energy. We know when you're sad, when you're happy, when you're angry, we know. We can feel it. We feel the vibration, the frequency. Oh snap. What's going on, babe? You all right? And even though most men, they shut down, they don't talk, I'm all right, tell you they good and they not. We know that that's not true. So the narcs, they come for the empaths. They love us because we got this bright light that's shining and we got this super source of supply that they can just suck from, So it's like, come here, I want you. So then we decide, I'm going to turn that off. I'm not gonna be her no more, and I'm gonna be a dark empath. I'm gonna mess your world up. You think you coming for me, fool? Watch this. And I could probably say I was that for a little while. I was probably a dark empath for a while. And I don't know. I gotta read Mirror's book to see fully what a dark empath actually is. But the scenario that he gave us in the interview that he did on Love, Lust, and Lies, he said he went to knock his girlfriend's cup out of her hand, and she got up and cleaned it up and went upstairs like it was nothing. Because the plot was real. The revenge was real. Baby, you think you going to handle me how you want? You think you going to act crazy? You got me all the way messed up. And it messed with him. It messed with him. He ain't know what to do, how to react. Because once they see that they don't have control over you, and they can't push a button and make you puppeteer you and make you act how they want you to act, and like a jank, I push this button and look at her, I did that, to stroke their egos and validate themselves. Once they see now you boring, now you corny, now, I'm going to go ahead and head over here to this girl who buttons I can push. Because I see I can't do that with you no more. And I don't like that. So I'm out. You know what I'm saying? So, if you all will stay tuned so that I can continue telling you the different phases of getting well versed in manipulation and or narcissist, then you will too be on your game, on your A game, and not allow yourself to fall for the okie doke. Okay? I'm going to end the episode here. I'd like to thank you all so very much for tuning in. Once again, you are guided, you are protected, and you are safe. And I will see you next time.